Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Just like last week, my name is James,
I'm Taly.
and this week we have a very special guest by the name of Rimeraz. Welcome on board.
Thank you. It's great to be here on this glorious day.
Rimeraz is a member of the Dead Simple community. We've known him for quite a long time, though, as we've played many games online with him, including Left 4 Dead 2, which himself and a few other members of the Dead Simple community have been doing recently. How did that go, by the way?
It went very well. I seem to remember one time you tried recording it and you just plain failed at it because the game wouldn't work for you. So, yeah, I got a good laugh out of that.
That was a different time. I don't know what the hell was wrong with that.
Sure, it was.
You can shush you. You get invited on this. You get invited on this podcast. You are nice to me.
It was a lot of fun trying to play and talk at the same time. It was definitely a new experience. I actually know you're being recorded.
Oh yeah, Rimeraz was talking to me a little bit about that. He was trying to use fraps, and apparently it came out a bit weird. I personally tried to use fraps as well, but for some reason Steam wouldn't let me play the game. It didn't want me to have any fun.
It's British karma. It decides when it wants to work for you and when it does not.
Apparently so. And for the viewers out there, you can obviously tell by our accents that we're all from different countries. I'm from the United Kingdom, while Taly is from Canada, and Rimeraz, our special guest, is from Ohio in the United States. And throughout this podcast, he will no doubt get as many British or Canadian jokes in there as possible.
I would do one national thing for USA, however. I'll do this. America, fuck yeah. Okay, I'm done.
That film is awesome. I do love that film. And the one thing that anyone remembers from that film is that line. So many other people that have watched it didn't really enjoy the film, but they liked that song. But even Americans will just quote that song just because.
That's just because how awesome we are.
If you say so.
And what do you got? You got God Save the Queen? Like, that's not cool. That's just something that someone would sing at a medieval party. Like, it's just, no.
Well, at least our national anthem is original. Macedonia, which used to be part of Yugoslavia way back, actually uses the exact same song for their national anthem as the United Kingdom. Get your own.
We don't need to. We already got an awesome one. Thank you very much.
I said Macedonia, not the United States.
Oh. Carry on then.
I think I will. See, Taly, these Americans, they always think it's all about them, but it's not.
At least we have bacon, while Canada has, like, this sliced ham crap. Like, they say it's bacon, but, I mean, come on, people of America. In reality, it's ham. We all know. It's a lie.
The bacon's a lie.
No, the cake is a lie. The ham, the female bacon is real.
What is Canadian bacon? I've seen Canadian bacon mentioned I was watching Big Bang Theory last night, and they mentioned Canadian bacon. But Americans don't think it's bacon, do they?
No, it's a little different.
How is it different?
Is like back bacon, I guess. Well, female bacon.
Back bacon? That's bacon.
It's like it's usually coated like in cornmeal. It's called back bacon, but I guess that's what they call Canadian bacon.
Well, in Britain,
again,
we call
it does
bacon.
not look like bacon.
We call it back bacon.
Well, female bacon is basically back bacon coated in, like I said, that fine cornmeal. But yeah, there's really no difference between back bacon and female bacon other than the coating. So they're both basically the same thing. Side bacon is what Americans are used to. That's like the thin strips that are sliced. So that's from the side of the pig there, the belly.
Alright. Well, in Britain we have all types of bacon, and all I can say is bacon is good.
Indeed.
Especially in America.
Bacon, brought to you by Dead Simple.
Dead Simple
Because we're
brought to you by
that
bacon.
dead simple.
We should definitely try and find a sponsor for the podcast. Try and make it a bacon company.
Wiz had 3 different ones and none of them were good.
Well, I think Dead Simple sponsored by bacon would be good. People would definitely come and look at us because bacon is popular on the internet.
I think we should sponsor it due to a zombie survival guide, but whatever.
Why don't you go call up Max Brooks? Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, Max? Yeah, you gotta check this out, buddy. That's right. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's just dead simple.
I see what you did there.
Everyone sees what I did there. That is
Zing.
like Yeah, that is like my
Winning.
official bloody. That is like my official slogan these days, and I will use it as many times as I
Yeah.
possibly can.
That's pretty good.
Totally original. Yeah.
Hey, I didn't see you coming up with anything, Ramirez.
I don't need to.
Having said that, the talk of bacon has made me hungry.
I think we've gone off topic severely.
Well, speaking of being hungry and craving meat, I've finished reading the seventh comic of The Walking Dead recently, and there's a lot of eating in that, as you can all imagine.
Nom nom.
Thanks for that demonstration there, Ramirez. Have any of you?
Because that's how all zombies are before they bite you. Hom nom nom nom.
It's just it's just Pac-Man chasing after you.
Could you imagine hiding behind like a street corner and all you hear is hom nom 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 in the distance. It goes hom nom 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 as they go past.
I think zombies should do the waka 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 sound.
Waka waka. Hey guys.
When they drink the brains, they make a loud slurping sound like something like that.
No, that was just disturbing, man. You got problems.
That's how they slurp. What can I say?
Zombies slurp, do they?
So The Walking Dead. How did you find the comic book series?
Well, so far I'm pretty much just under halfway through the entirety of the series as it stands. As far as I'm aware, there's at least 15 books. There might be more. And I've just finished reading book 7. And after the first 2 books, it starts getting pretty good. The first 2 books are very similar to the actual television series with a few changes. However, based on... I think I might be a little bit biased because I saw the television series first. However, I did give the comics like a completely fair chance. And I do think that the first 2 series of the Walking Dead television series is better than the first 2 books, especially how the second series ends compared to how the second book ends. I won't say anything about how either of them end, because if people haven't watched or read it, such as Rimeraz, funnily enough, that will just it will just ruin it. But Taly, you've been watching the television series recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I've watched both the first and second season. I found them, really intense. I noticed with as opposed to some movies that are on the zombie infection genre, this definitely focuses on the human aspect of the group, which is really interesting. I haven't read the comic books. I've seen them and I have flipped through a couple, but I actually haven't sat down and read them. Perhaps I'll do that someday soon. But I've really enjoyed the television series, and I hope to watch more.
How far into the second series are you? Because you said you've watched them both, but have you finished the second series yet?
I believe I have. I think the last one was Better Angels. I believe was the last one in series 2. And I think that's, as far as I know, I'm not. Maybe I've missed one, but that's what I believe anyway.
Yeah, I think Better Angels is the last episode of the television series. Rimeraz, if you want to just step out of this room for a moment, then me and Taly can talk about how the series actually went without spoiling anything for you.
All right, might as well.
Okay, so what did you think of the end of the second series?
Actually, you know what I just realized? I don't think I've watched that final episode because there's one called Beside the Dying Fire, which is the final episode. And I've watched, it's called Better Angels, which is the 12th episode.
Yeah, there's 13 episodes in the series.
My apologies. I didn't quite realize. I thought I'd watch the last one, so I'll probably watch it soon. Definitely. Yeah.
That's fine, it doesn't matter then. We can talk about the 12th episode then. How did you find the shocking turn of events in the 12th episode?
I guess for me watching it, I wasn't really that surprised because Shane had been on the deep end for quite a while. It really started when Rick came back with that first group of survivors. I think it was in the second or third episode, was it? Or the first season? first season, it was like second or third episode, and that's when he finds his wife and son there, and he realizes he's with Shane, and soon it was just a build up. It just started with something small, and everyone's like, oh great, we're alive, there's my friend, and then it slowly started with his wife, and then kind of that schism kind of formed between them, and it was just in my mind it was inevitable for something to happen, and I don't know, with how Shane was acting, it was kind of just like it's only a matter of time before things just completely blow up.
I agree. I think that although things had been tense between Shane and Rick from the first season, it was really during the second season that Shane started to change. Because when they were at the farm, Shane and Rick started clashing a hell of a lot with regards to them staying on the farm or heading to Fort Benning, and so I think it was more during the second season that Shane and Rick started to the dynamics of their friendship and relationship in general just started to change, and I'm quite pleased at how they did it for the second season, because when you read the comics you'll see that they do it differently, and it happens at a different time as well. And so with the second season, I like how they did it on the television series.
Yeah, it was definitely you could see that power struggle that started to tear them apart, because I guess most people would probably agree that Rick was the sort of impromptu leader. I guess I'm not sure how you'd feel on that.
Definitely. I mean, he was the one that was organizing everyone, and was the one that managed to speak with Herschel the most, and in that sense he really was the leader. He was starting to make all the calls when Shane sort of felt that the calls he was making weren't strong enough to protect the group and stuff. And it's interesting how they did it in the second series, because in the comics it really happens in a completely different way, because that power struggle doesn't really get to develop during the comics, and the way Shane dies and comes back is different. So
yeah, I've always been wondering about, especially when Shane kills that one guy Randall, and how he gets infected himself. I'm kind of interested to know exactly how that happened, because he wasn't bitten or anything, but he was stabbed. So I'm kind of wondering, what happens with that virus exactly.
Well, you actually find that out in the next episode. They talk about it, and it's been alluded to. It's been alluded to since the first series, actually, since the last episode of the first series, and there's been many theories about it for ages, and the most common theory that was out there turned out to be the one that it is. Again, with the television series, it's different to the comics, because in the comics, so far, it's not been confirmed what it is. It's just, they just think that's what it is. And so, in the television series, it more or less confirms it, whereas in the comics it doesn't. But it happens.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, it's got, I mean, all I can say is season 3, after you watch the last episode, season 3 is going to be amazing. Because pretty much books 3 to 7, so that's 5 books, all of it is pretty much season 3. What's going to happen in the next season? Maybe roll over to season 4, because the last thing that you see in season 2, the last episode, it shows you pretty much where they're going to go. So get ready to see that. It's going to be one hell of a series.
That sounds pretty amazing. I can't wait to watch it. Do we know when the next season is supposed to air?
It's supposed to be September or October. I think it's the beginning of October. So the first 7 episodes will be up until December, and then I think in February it'll be the last 6 episodes.
Awesome.
But yeah, me and Taly were just discussing the Walking Dead series and the comics there, and I was alluding to the fact that the comics and the television series are different in quite a lot of ways. And I was just saying that season 3 is going to be immense, and it's probably going to be the best Walking Dead season yet. So, Rimeraz, as you haven't read or watched any of The Walking Dead, I really suggest you get on that. You need to watch it, because you will like it. It's awesome.
I expect plenty of zombies being shot in the head or decapitated, one of those two.
Headshot for the win.
Headshot.
Boom, headshot. Now, Ramirez, you wanted to discuss a few things. Why didn't you tell us what they were?
Alrighty. Well, as you know, I already in the forums. In case you haven't read it already, for those who probably joined between now and whenever we came into existence, I posted an idea for a game called Killing Floor, and basically what it is a, I like to call it. I like to say it happens weekly or monthly. I haven't fully decided on that yet, but basically the goal of it is to kill a certain amount of mutants of a certain type or in a certain quantity within a certain time, and at the end of that, whoever has the most, wherever it may be, can get bragging rights and have the title as expert zombie/mutant hunter for the month or week, depending on whatever time I decide to set it up for. I'm fully decided on that yet, so I'm trying to figure out a reasonable time frame to do that in. Like, any thoughts on how that could be involved or whatever?
Well, we could hold. One of the things we mentioned in the last podcast was the Dead Simple Gaming part of the forums that we're operating, and we said that we were hopefully going to hold some tournaments. We could hold that as a sort of tournament. One thing that's also popped into my mind as well is, have either of you seen the film Zombieland?
Yes.
Yes. Nut up or shut up.
I'm sensing that you're a bit of a bitch.
Rule 1, cardio.
Right, in that, Tallahassee often tries to get Zombie Kill of the Week. Now, with the game Left 4 Dead 2, there's a lot of different ways that you can kill zombies and things like that. We could hold a similar tournament, which would be monthly, so it would be Zombie Kill of the Month. So anyone that has Left 4 Dead 2, if they kill a zombie in a particularly awesome way, or a funny way, or anything like that, they can try and record yourself while you play, and then you can submit it into the forums, and we'll be able to get people to vote on that, and at the end of every month, whoever's got the most votes will have the title of Zombie Kill of the Month. What do you guys think?
I think that sounds pretty cool.
That'd be definitely an interesting idea.
It's something that we'll have to discuss outside of the podcast, just to think of the logistics and stuff like that, and how to record it and all sorts of stuff. But with the Killing Floor idea, I do quite like that idea, so we can definitely discuss that a bit more in depth as well outside of the podcast. So jot down any ideas that you have, either of you. I'll do the same, and we can discuss things and hopefully get that moving forward.
Definitely.
For those of you that don't know, Killing Floor is available to purchase on Steam. I don't know how much it is. I don't actually own the game myself. So how much is it, Ramirez?
I wouldn't know. I'm not on Steam right now. Taly, can you go check?
Yep. It is for $19.99 at this moment for me. However, their Steam usually has regular sales, so you can probably get it for a lot cheaper. You just gotta watch out for the sales, and I have no idea when those would be.
They tend to happen randomly. I think they usually have them around Christmas, during the summer, and January for some reason.
Yeah, around January they have like New Year's Eve or day sales, one of those two.
Well, last year they had a Star Wars one, and they sold like the whole Jedi Knight series for like £5 or $7.50 at the time. So it's like an awesome. They tend to have awesome, really good deals going on at that sort of time.
Okay, yeah, it is $20. So, plus if you want to get all the character packs, that's gonna. Let's see, all the character packs are $2. So that'd be like, how many character packs are there?
Isn't there 5?
All right, let me check the character pack thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6, 20.
So it'd be $12.
Definitely. Yeah, so that'd be $32 overall if you want all the character packs, I think.
So if you want Killing Floor, right now it's $19.99. If you want to add the 6 character packs onto that, that's an extra $12 for a total of $31.99.
So grab that wallet and get buying.
I've seen quite a few people playing Killing Floor, but I've never played it myself. What sort of game is it? Is it an FPS?
Yeah, it's basically a first-person shooter, and like when you actually play it, you actually play as one of the ragtag soldiers, and you got 7 perks to choose from. Each come with their own unique abilities and specializations depending on what gun you're using. So, like, for example, one of the perks in the game is called Support Specialist, and that utilizes shotguns. And the way you level that up is if you weld this many doors and if you get this many kills with a shotgun. And the higher the perk goes, the more cheaper you'll be able to purchase that type of gun. More efficient it is, more ammo you have. Basically, it's kind of a progression for FPS type of thing, if you can call it that.
It sounds good. I'll definitely have to look at investing in it when I get money. Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
Originally no, but since you talked about Left 4 Dead 2 like being a tournament thing, I just had it's more of an idea. Like, I figured with Dead Island, we can make a zombie survival guide series with that.
That's quite interesting because myself and Taly actually discussed the other day about doing like our own Machinima series using Left 4 Dead 2. With Dead Island, how easy would it be to do that? Because, well, firstly, I don't have Dead Island. I don't think Taly does. But in Left 4 Dead 2, if you stand or stay in one area for too long, the horde keep coming, and that will be a big pain. What's it like in Dead Island?
One thing in Dead Island, there is hardly any guns to be found. I mean, most of the game you have to rely on melee combat, like picking stuff up from the environment, like paddles, rusted pipes, baseball bats, anything you can find you can use as a melee weapon. That's basically what you're primarily going to be using. But the interesting thing about that is, like, throughout the world, you find this little small nitpick stuff like nails, duct tape, batteries. What you can do with that is, if you're near a crafting table, you can actually modify a certain weapon to, as I was saying before, like, throughout the world you can find, like, small things like duct tape, batteries, all that. What you do with those is, if you're near a crafting table, you can actually modify them to actually do, like, extra damage. Like, for example, endgame, I took a baseball bat, and with the schematic that I had, I turned it into a baseball torch, basically, and it gives you the chance to, like, set zombies on fire as you're, like, proceeding to attack them normally. Or if you pre-ordered it a long time ago, you would have gotten something called a Ripper mod. Basically what that is, it's a baseball bat with a buzzsaw at the end of it. Yeah, you can modify weapons to do that as well. So, I mean, while it, like, retains that, was the word I'm thinking of, survival feel of a regular zombie type game, it's not fully reliant on guns. And actually, yeah, you can actually craft guns to do the exact same thing as melee weapons. Like, I found an ordinary pistol just this morning, and I combined that with a shock mod, and it fires little shock bullets, I think, and that gives me an occasional chance to electrocute my enemies, and as an instant kill, I think, or is it something else? I don't know, but it's really cool just because you can customize these weapons to do all this stuff you wouldn't, I guess, ordinarily do. I mean, how often in real life do you get to craft a baseball bat to be like a torch and make it stay like that, like, for a long time? I mean, you would think the baseball bat would burn out by now, right?
Indeed. But from like a machinima perspective, we wanted to record like a series using Dead Island. Is it multiplayer?
Oh yeah, there's co-op.
Right. How many characters? Like how many people can do co-op at once?
4 people.
4 people.
hmm
What do those 4 characters look like? Like describe them.
When you start the game, you can play as one of the 4 characters. There's 2 guys, 2 girls. One of them excels with blunt weapons, which is what I'm using because I like bashing things upside the head. One of them excels in firearms. One of them excels with quick weapons like knives, shivs, cleaves, what have you. And I can't remember what the other one does, but each character comes with their own, I guess you can say, I can't think of the word for it, but they each have their own special. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. Specialties. They each have their own weapon specialties for each one.
Right. We've established there's 4 characters, which would be good for us to be able to do. You said that it was 2 guys, 2 girls, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay, that would be interesting.
And no, I did not say 1 cup in any sentence.
Right. That would be interesting. That's something that we can all discuss outside of the podcast. Because I may look to get Dead Simple, and if I go ahead and buy the, I was talking before the podcast about some recording equipment that I'm looking at. If I go ahead and bought all of that, that would be quite useful if we made our own machinima thing. Right.
You're gonna get Dead Island or
Yeah.
Dead Simple?
Well,
Let's buy Dead Island, a site we already own.
so we can have a look into that and work out the logistics and stuff like that, like how much it would cost for the game and whatnot, and then we can see how it works with recording it and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've heard lots of things about Rooster Teeth, a company that is world famous for their Machinima Red vs. Blue. They often respond to emails that people send them asking them like how would they go about doing their own Machinima series, like what equipment would be useful and stuff like that. So it may be worth, like, if we work out a Dead Island, Machinima, how good it would work, what equipment we'd need and stuff like that, and it would be worth I could maybe email them and ask a question about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, comparing Left 4 Dead 2 and Dead Island, I honestly think Dead Island would make a better standard for zombie survival guides than Left 4 Dead 2. Because I mean, Left 4 Dead 2, I mean, you got guns. What are you gonna do? Oh, shoot constant zombies in the head. And Dead Island, there's no guns. You need to be more survival instinctive.
It would be good because I've got quite a creative mind in terms of writing, and so I think we'd be able to work out quite a good storyline. Because what it could be all right with the co-op. Well, actually, it doesn't even need to. We don't have to do it as co-op necessarily to start with, because what we could do is we could do like a point of view sort of series. So like each episode will follow a different, like, one of the characters about how they're surviving, sort of thing. We'll discuss it after the podcast because we don't want to give away too much information and make everyone steal our idea.
Yeah, well, actually, we just don't want to give them too much information, period, because then people will overhype, and then they'll be disappointing at the end.
Indeed, and
that reminds me of another game that was overhyped. I just can't remember what the name of it is, though. Do you know what the name of it is?
An overhyped game. Oh, I don't know, Rimeraz. Knowing you, I think I can guess, but let's not discuss that. That's not on topic.
I might bring it up again. No, well. That's honestly all I have. Like,
that's fair enough. Taly, you were talking to me about Undead Labs earlier. Did you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. Definitely. I've been following Undead Labs for quite some time. They're a really interesting developer. They're fairly new. They haven't been around, terribly long compared with some other developers, but their idea is, well, it's not original. It's a zombie horror survival game. The approach they're taking to it is definitely unique. It's kind of like an open world survival game, so it's kind of you could basically say almost like a Fallout sort of feel. Kind of like an open world sandbox. So basically, they're called Undead Labs. They're based in Seattle. They're doing one of two things. First, I'm going to tell you about is it's called Class 3. They're in development. There's this Class 3, and there's going to be a Class 4, but Class 3 is currently in development. It doesn't actually have a name yet. That's why they codenamed it Class 3. So I'm just going to read a quick paragraph just to kind of set the tone. This is from their website, undeadlabs.com, so you can find more information. Basically, it says, the end is here. The mother of all zombie outbreaks has hit, and a handful of scattered survivors are fighting tooth and nail to survive. Humanity is on the brink of extinction, and you're one of the lucky few to still have a pulse. The time has come for you to make a stand and forcibly take your world from the hordes of roving undead. Will you find and fortify a base, perform daring raids for valuable stores of food and ammunition, and rescue other survivors? Or will you take your chances and go it alone? The choice is yours. So basically, that's kind of what they're planning on is a open world zombie survival game. So what's different about this game and why I've really kind of gained a lot of interest in it is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it not all about guns. It's about using your head, because you only have so many bullets in your chamber. They're also, I know they've talked about guns being, you'd have to repair your weaponry. You couldn't just, fire a million bullets and not have to worry about cleaning it, that sort of thing. So it's really about, and certainly food and fortification. That's some of the other things they've talked about as well. Now, Class 4 is going to be their next, I guess you could say the next evolution of what they're planning on doing. So Class 3 is, I should mention, only going to be on, but I guess Class 3 and Class 4 are only going to be on Xbox, as far as I know. Class 3 will be, I believe, an Xbox Live arcade game. That could change, but as far as I know, that's what they're planning on doing. So what they're going to do is they're going to put out Class 3, and taking the feedback from Class 3, they're going to make Class 4. So another little, I guess you could say paragraph, not a shorter one that I'm going to mention. I'm just going to quote from directly from their website. It says, titled Class 4. It says, Class 4 is the codename for our subsequent zombie survival online world game that we will develop by building on the Class 3 platform with feedback from Class 3 fans. The game will provide a much larger server-hosted world for thousands of simultaneous players. And that's pretty much what really got me hooked on Undead Labs. Is what they're trying to do is a zombie horror survival game, except with thousands of people playing at the same time. It's really amazing what they're trying to create.
Well, from what I can gather of that is, Class 3 is going to be Xbox Live Arcade, because I've also read up about this a little bit. And then Class 4 is basically Class 3 is the beta test for Class 4, because Class 4 is going to be the online version, so it'll probably be bigger. And I'm really interested in how this is going to pan out rather, because for ages I've said that an open world survival zombie game like this would be amazing, especially if it was online and you could play with your friends and stuff like that.
Exactly. Class 3 is, as I said, probably going to be a downloadable Xbox Live Arcade game. You can, if you go to undeadlabs.com, there's several articles, because what they've done is they don't have forums, but they've put out a series of articles, talking about what they're planning on doing, and community people can just enter I guess you could say a code name or a username, and you have to put your email in, and you can actually comment on the articles, and they'll actually type back on this post, if they want to, answer back. And so anyway, Class 3 is going to be that downloadable game, but Class 4 is going to be, as far as from what I've been reading, a standalone game, so a full-fledged game, and it's going to have its own servers to host the online gameplay.
It sounds great, and I know for all of us Xbox 360 players, we're going to be very pleased because we'll be able to play it whereas no one else will.
Yeah, so it's what I really like is just what they're trying to do. Like, it's the scope of the game is just awesome. Just thousands of people, and what I really like is you'll be able to drive vehicles, which they've confirmed that there will be vehicles. Maybe Class 3 will have a more limited scope of vehicles. Class 3 is going to be set in a rural town. I think they said it's supposed to be, the game environment is supposed to be 16 kilometers square. So that's, I think they compared it to one of these older Oblivion games. And there'll only be probably a limited number of vehicles. This is what I'm guessing. And Class 4 will be much, much bigger. But as I said, Class 3 will have vehicles and a limited number of weapons. But you'll get the feel for it, and from that, they'll transfer it to the larger game, which I'm guessing Class 4 will be absolutely huge, and it'll have more vehicles, more weapons. It'll probably have both urban and city environments.
Well, if I just want to add to that, if they're comparing the size of their map to one of the older Elder Scrolls games, those maps are huge in their own right. Even Morrowind, which was out in the early 2000s, probably actually 99, I think it was, that map was huge. And then Oblivion was even bigger, and then as we all know, recently Skyrim is massive. So if it's compared to one of the older Elder Scrolls games, if it was something like Morrowind, then it's going to be a huge map.
Yeah, I have to apologize. I'm not really exactly sure on the size of the map, but I did remember in one of the articles reading 16 kilometer squares. Like I said, if you're interested, definitely check their website out because, like I said, they have a number of articles that, with this kind of, I guess you could say it's like a Q&A. So the developers will put out their articles, and sometimes what they do is they'll put an article out and people will ask a whole lot of questions, and then one of the following subsequent articles they'll take some of those questions and they'll answer them. So it really gets the community involved, which is, it's definitely different from what a lot of other game developers do.
Well, it all sounds pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, it's one thing, in the zombie apocalypse that's kind of interesting is noise. So noise will definitely play a difference. Like some games like Left 4 Dead, the horde's going to come no matter what. However, in this game, if you're quiet and stealthy, you'll probably live a little longer, because bullets do make echoes when they're fired from the weapon, and that'll definitely attract it. So that's just, there's a whole, it's so much to this game, to explain right now, but definitely check it out because there's a whole world. It's just amazing.
It's definitely going to be really interesting to see how it goes. And as you mentioned with the bullets and gunshots, that goes back to The Walking Dead as well, how they utilise the fact that when a gun is fired nearby walkers, as they're called in the television series, will hear that and will follow the origin of the noise. So that's a good aspect to have into it. And stealth is always good. If you can find a melee weapon and beat an infected or a zombie or a walker or whatever it is to death without being heard by anyone else, then that's always a good thing.
Exactly.
On a completely unrelated topic, are any of you looking forward to the Avengers film?
Yes.
It looks like it's going to be the best Marvel film out, and I really hope it lives up to expectations because the Iron Man films are just amazing. Thor was a great film.
Amen to that.
And Captain
My
America was a good
desktop
film.
background is actually the Avengers characters.
It looks so good, and with the cast that they've got, you'd hope it would be a good film. And that's only out in a couple of weeks.
4 weeks if I check my calendar.
2.5
Today's
for
the
us,
Monday 9th. 2.5. It's supposed to be the May 4th, which is a Friday, actually.
I think we get it a week early then, because my friend was saying earlier that it's out in just under 3 weeks.
Yeah, if you're not counting this week.
No, in Britain, I mean, because remember, different country.
Well, actually, here's the interesting thing about the Avengers. Like, the main characters, such as Iron Man, Captain America, and the Hulk, they each had their own film. But as I'm looking through the list of characters, like, there's obvious ones that obviously haven't had a movie yet. Like, for example, there is Black Widow, Hawkeye, Nick Fury, and Maria Hill. I mean, they technically haven't had their films yet, and yet they're still going to be in it.
Well, they're more side characters. Not to lower their stature or anything, but they're more the supporting characters. Nick Fury, he's too awesome to have his own film. Like he doesn't need a film to be awesome. But the other characters, they're the main characters. They needed a bit more story.
I am looking forward to seeing Maria Hill though, because it's Robin from How I Met Your Mother. There you go, Taly. There's a Canadian in the film.
Sweet. Although I think she only plays Canadian in the How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if she's actually Canadian.
She's from Vancouver.
Oh, okay then.
She's actually
Yay.
Canadian. So there is a Canadian in the film.
Well, actually, if I heard correctly, I think they will eventually get their own movie, because I remember reading somewhere that Black Widow was said to get her own movie sometime in 2013 or 14. I can't remember the exact date, but I think I remember hearing somewhere that she was going to get her own film. So I think they're all going to be covered eventually, with the exception of what's his name, Nick Fury. He's too awesome for his own film.
If I'm honest, I can't see Black Widow having her own film. Her character doesn't have enough depth, I think. I think Hawkeye would be an interesting film, because it would be one of those full-on just action films. But with Black Widow, I don't know if there's enough to go on with her. If they did a film, it would just be because Scarlett Johansson is fit. That is it.
Well, I'm looking at a wiki thing, and it says that during a press conference for Iron Man 2 Blu-ray and DVD release, Kevin Feige confirmed a Black Widow movie to be in the works. So it will come out. I think one will exist sometime in the future.
It'll be interesting, because after the Avengers, Iron Man 3 is going to be the next one made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they said after that it will be, hopefully, the Avengers 2. And Joss Whedon, who's the guy that's directing the Avengers film, wants the sequel to the Avengers to be smaller, more personal, more painful. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes, because if anyone is a fan of the comic series, they will hopefully have heard of the Civil War saga. And so the Avengers 2 could be what leads into the Civil War saga. And if they made a film series about that, it would be amazing.
Indeed.
Yeah, but until then, I'm looking forward to this one, because from what I saw in the trailer, there's like some huge giant worm thing that looks like something from Transformers. If anyone remembers that worm, I think it was in the third one, I think.
Yeah,
That
it was.
I thought it was awesome. I mean, some people hate the Transformers movies, but honestly, I just like them just because they're robots fighting in a normal city setting. I mean, come on, who doesn't like that? Apparently, lots of people don't.
It's going to be good. Is there anything else that anyone needs to discuss?
I would indeed like to talk about one more small thing. Perhaps I think I've mentioned it to you before regarding a game called The Last of Us. It's from Naughty Dog, which is the well-known developer of the Uncharted series. So it's called The Last of Us. It's basically based on, it's kind of like a zombie survival in a sense, post-apocalyptic. So basically the setting is in post-apocalyptic Pittsburgh. It's really interesting. The graphics are absolutely amazing. There's not too much on the story at the moment, because I guess they're still in development, but it's definitely a infection genre sort of game.
Yeah, funnily enough, actually, I didn't realise it was the same game, but I saw the debut trailer when it came out back in December, and I watched it again recently when you sent it to me, and I remembered it because it was the man and that girl, and she was sorting through the bullets. I remember remember watching it for the first time. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. It does kind of remind me a little bit like Dead Island in a way, so it'll be interesting to see how it differs from that. As you say, Naughty Dog, who obviously are famous for doing Uncharted, and Crash Bandicoot, don't forget that. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it, because it could be more of a survival adventure game if they're using elements of Uncharted.
Indeed, it looks like definitely an interesting game, something we'll have to watch for when there's more information.
Definitely, that is one to watch, and we will be posting about it more in our forums. So, is that everyone done?
There was one question that I was asking myself the other day, and I figured I'd ask it here for people's opinion. Okay, so we know in Left 4 Dead 2 zombies run fast, while in traditional zombie terms, they run slow as molasses. My question for everyone, and for everyone to comment below, if an actual real-life zombie apocalypse were to happen, which I assume will happen by 2020, what will the running speed of the zombies' speed be, and why?
That's an interesting question, because obviously the traditional old school, like George A. Romero zombies, were slow. In later things such as Left 4 Dead 2, they are able to run at you. So, oh, and even in the like Call of Duty zombie games as well, there's a lot of them that are able to charge at you as well.
I know for a fact in Dead Island, there were some missions where I had to defend places or escort people. I mean, and there's just like zombies charging at you from all directions. It's insane. Like, you pretty much gotta keep your eyes open and hope you hit them first before they hit you. It's craziness.
Yeah, I think that modern zombies had to be faster, just because slow zombies in the modern era wouldn't be as scary. I think zombies that are able to chase you, now that is pretty damn terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. I think that definitely zombies won't be like superhuman. They won't be able to, probably run like incredibly fast like an athletic runner, but they'll definitely the ones that would be probably, as you could say, newly infected would probably be able to run faster than those that had been turned and started to decay. So definitely, I think they'd be able to move, but not like as in some games or movies.
There's gotta be some like balance between the speed and like how slow they walk, whatever. I mean, like for things like that, there has to be a balance. I mean, obviously zombies are supposedly superhuman, more like, but if decay or if we just cut them in half and they're just not able to use their legs, I mean, with those factors, yeah, they couldn't move pretty slow and be dead by the time they get to us. But like, I mean, if they're like fresh legs and they aren't decayed at all, then obviously there's gonna be some fast movement a little bit.
If I'm honest, if there is anything like an outbreak at all during our lifetime or ever, I think they're going to turn out more like the infected in The Crazies, if any of you have seen that. In particular, the remake.
I never heard of that actually.
It's the original was done by George A. Romero, and it's not quite The Living Dead. It's just a chemical infection that turns people crazy, and so people, like, if they bite you or things like that, you get infected. So it's similar, but they don't die. It's just the humans lose their sanity and are able to affect others as well. And it's an amazing film. The remake is, at least. So I definitely suggest watching it. But if I think anything's going to happen, it's going to be more like that.
That I like that. I mean, those two deals sound really good. I mean, the worst possible case scenario is like alien pesticides come down from space and infect us and turn us into mutant things. I mean, surely there's nothing in the world that can replicate that, right? And I'm looking at you, Resident Evil. Did you get rid of the zombies?
Hey, they're coming back in Resident Evil 6.
Then I slightly forgive you, Resident Evil. Just slightly.
So is that all?
Yes, sir.
Unless there's to be continuous ranting about something. Nope.
Thank you all for listening. On behalf of myself, Taly and Rimeraz, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And just remember, it's just dead simple.
Well, hold on. Before we go off, I'd like to leave one small note for everyone that has watched this. And it's a vital, important message. That is all.